Hi everyone, I'm Donnie Lowy. I'm here at Closeoutexplosion.com. I hope you're having an amazing day today. Today I'd like to discuss with you how to run a counterintuitive business. What does counterintuitive mean? Well, simply means to do something that initially might not seem like the logical course to take, but once you think about it, you do your research, you do your analysis, you discuss it with people, you realize that really it makes sense to take a direction that initially might not seem like the direction to take. So, the closeout business essentially is a counterintuitive business, right? When you buy a closeout, you're buying merchandise that another store, another wholesaler is having a challenge selling, but you believe that you can do very well with it. So you're doing something that initially might not seem to be the best approach, but because you've done your analysis, you've done your research, you spoke with people, you realize it makes sense to do. So, many times, I'm going to give you an example, but many times in hindsight, or when something has already been so accepted, like the closeout business, you might say, no, it's not counterintuitive at all. But the truth is that many businesses, especially the closeout business, at one point were seen as a very counterintuitive business, right? I'll give you an example. Let's say there's a store, and the store is doing really well with its clothing, and they sell bathing suits, beautiful, two-piece, single-piece bathing suits for women. And now the summer season is over, and initially, right, so let's say the store says to a customer, hey, do you want to buy these bathing suits? And the customer would initially say no, because the season is done, right? That's the most simple and correct logic. Now, if you take it a step further, which is also correct, and it's counterintuitive, the customer could say, you know what, she might not need the bathing suit, right, during the month of October, right? But if she could hold on to it, and then 6 months, 9 months, a year later, she'll need that bathing suit again, and she has the opportunity to buy it at a really good discount. That's the same thing with the closeout business, and I believe it's a good approach for the wholesale and retail business, provided that you have the resources and the time to be able to implement the strategy the right way. So if you have a wholesale business, and you see there's another wholesaler or an importer that has imported merchandise that they can't sell because the season is done, and you have the resources, meaning you could put in enough money without hurting your business, hurting yourself, and you could hold that merchandise until the right season comes, and you have where to store it, it might make sense for you to do it, right? Another counterintuitive thing is, this is really interesting actually, let's say there's a style that it's going out of fashion, or it's gone out of fashion already. So it really wouldn't make sense to buy it, right? Until you consider that there are styles that come back into fashion, but sometimes it could take months, sometimes it could take years, and sometimes it might not happen at all. But I'll give you a good example of a brand. Remember Converse sneakers? So they were really popular way, way before I was born. And then what happened? In recent years, the brand came back. People like the styles, not just a brand, but the actual styles that were worn, I don't know, maybe when I was born, right? But even before I was born. So that happens, and it happens with brands. And unfortunately, the opposite could happen as well. So you do have to be careful. Let's say a brand like Lacoste. I remember it being really, really popular 10 years ago. It still might be popular, but I haven't gotten requests from customers that are looking for Lacoste. Another brand that was really popular maybe about 7, 8 years ago, maybe even more, was Echo. And now I just don't get a request for that brand. It's possible it's still popular, but I don't perceive it that way. On the other hand, there are brands which were not that popular, and then they just had a resurgence. Even Reebok, I believe, had a good resurgence. Adidas had a good resurgence. Nike's been pretty constant. So what I'm really trying to say is that there's a way to be in business to be counterintuitive and still, make money. Another counterintuitive approach is to say, you know what, let's say there's an item which, first glance, your customers, they don't need it, they don't ask for it, they're not looking for it, but you say to yourself, no, that once your customers would see the benefit, the value of that product, then they would enjoy buying it. So that's being counterintuitive, right? Because initially your customers, if you would ask yourself or ask your customers, they would say, no, we don't need that type of belt. But you say to yourself, no, once they see the quality, they see the craftsmanship, they actually see on themselves, they're going to really like it, and then they're going to want to have it. So that's a counterintuitive move. And it's just very important to be aware that, a lot of things sound great in theory. The implementation is the challenge. So some counterintuitive strategies work, some counterintuitive strategies do not work. But the benefit is if you do it right, if you're doing something really counterintuitive, you should be able to get a very, very good price from whoever you're buying the merchandise from, because they themselves don't have a good market for it. They can't sell it anymore. So by you buying it at a time when they can't sell it, you should be able to get a really good price. And the upside, that means that potentially if you're right and your logic did work, your research was right, you could sell it at a really, really high profit margin. All right, my website is closeoutexplosion.com. I'm looking forward to doing business with you.